10 conference basketball on ESPN, tipping off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. This is Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. Going to take a look at the Illinois Fighting Illini versus the Michigan State Spartans at the Breslin Center in East Lansing, Michigan. And the Spartans opened up as 9.5-point home favorites, but that number has been knocked down to 8.5, 9 in the market, while the total has moved up to 133 from its opening number of 132. Definitely some early movement early on, as this is one of the key games on the college basketball board tonight. When you look at Illinois, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. That includes a 74-60 setback to the now top-ranked team in the country, Michigan Wolverines, as 6-point home underdogs. And the under during that 5-game span is 4-1. Most of that is attributed to the fact that this team is struggling offensively over that last 5 games, 60.6 points per game, and they are 1-9 in their last 10 Big Ten road games. One of those victories did come this season against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. This team is capable of pulling off an upset given the right conditions. They are 2-3 against ranked opponents this year. That includes one of the more impressive non-conference victories of any team on any resume this year, knocking off the Gonzaga Bulldogs on the road in Spokane. The key number when handicapping this game, in my situation and looking at this game, in my opinion, is the fact of the key number of 70. And that is because the Fighting Illini are 12-1 when reaching that mark this year. Just to put that in perspective, they've hit that mark 13 times. Last year, in the last season under their former coach, who's now at Kansas State, 10 of 32 games, they only managed to hit 70. So they're definitely more up-tempo and shooting more from outside the arc this year. They are 0-5 straight up and against the spread when failing to score 70 or more points against conference opponents. They failed to cover those games by an average of over 10.7 points per game. Guard Brandon Paul, the senior, is the key player to handicap on their end offensively for the Fighting Illini. He ranks 3rd in the Big Ten and averaging 17.9 points per game, and he scored a game-high 18 points in one of the more forgettable offensive performances by 2 teams in a game last year. It ended up being an Illinois 42-41 win over Michigan State. Michigan State shot the ball absolutely terrible in that one, so they're definitely going to have revenge on their minds. When you look at the Spartans, they had their 6-game win streak snapped last time out, dropping a 75-70 setback as 9.5-point road underdogs to the Indiana Hoosiers. But that is one of those games that you circle as a quality loss, especially when you're looking over tournament resumes as we get closer to March Madness. That isn't that bad of a loss because they kept it within a 3 to 9 point range basically the entire game. Indiana was never able to get any separation, and they are a tremendous offensive team at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, so I think that's a quality loss. The last 14 games in the series have been decided by 10 points or less, so if you're interested in taking the underdog, that is a very interesting statistic to handicap when you're looking at a spread that opened up at 9.5 and has now been knocked down to 8, 8.5. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of that statistic. So I'm going to be interested in possibly laying the points now that there's some value. The value may be with the Michigan State Spartans when you look at their 11-0 perfect record at the Breslin Center this year. And also head coach Tom Izzo, this is one of his best against the spread situations. When playing with revenge and having 3 or more days of preparation, 24-11-1 ATS. And also, you will have a hard time finding any team in the country over the last 10, 12 years that do a better job of covering the number when laying 6.5 to 9 points. The Michigan State Spartans, 34-8 against the spread in that situation. That is why I'm going to make them my official pick. The Michigan State Spartans, minus 8.5 against the Illinois Fighting Illini on Thursday night. This has been another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. For any further information on this game or any other on the college basketball board, and if you look over my Twitter feed last night, you had a lot of key information that would have made you a lot of money on Thursday. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Grant Sports.